Hello, everyone. President Obama was the clear winner of last night's debate. Um, Quite a change from the last debate in which a lot of the candidates seemed to be trying to trash Obama in one way or the other, and they did a complete 180 in this debate and were praising him left and right. The majority of candidates, if not all candidates, were praising Obama last night. Um, I think that their campaign strategists got to him and were like, "Why are you trashing Obama? Obama's still immensely popular amongst Democrats. He left with a good record, so on and so forth. Obama's still really popular, and so you're doing nothing by hurting your campaign by putting it down on Obama." And so, yeah, they did a complete turnaround as far as that goes. So, yeah, definitely Obama was the clear winner of last night's debate. Of course, Obama's not running for president, although that would be interesting seeing Obama run against Trump. But that's fiction land, so we're not going to talk about that. But the winner, as far as who was in the debate, is Biden, Joe Biden. Yeah, I can't believe that I'm saying that, but the debate was almost so dull and boring that yeah, Biden seemed to be the clear winner, and almost because he didn't fuck up. He didn't do any major gaffes. I think maybe one or two times, maybe slight gaffes. I think it seemed that he forgot Elizabeth Warren's name at one point. He was like, "Oh, the senator on my left," or "the senator on my right." Oh, and he referred to Bernie Sanders as president at one point. So yeah, minor gaffes, but nothing major. But what I did like about what he did was he was really challenging Warren and Sanders on their healthcare plans, especially Bernie. With Bernie's $30 trillion healthcare plan, straight up, Biden was saying, "How are you going to pay for it?" Blatant. How are you going to pay for it? That's a lot of money, which it is. $30 trillion is just a ridiculous amount of money. How are you going to pay for it? And both Sanders and Warren were kind of like, almost seemingly stuttering. Oh, this and that, just political mumbo jumbo, and not really clearly stating, "Hey, this is my plan," whether it's $30 trillion, $30, whatever it is, not really stating, "This is how I'm going to pay for it." So yeah, I think Biden did really good as far as that is, calling them out on their plans, and that the fact that they didn't respond in any good way of how they're going to pay for their health care plans. Next person on the list, also surprising, Beto O'Rourke. Yeah, I mean, I can't even believe I'm rambling off these names, but taking into consideration they were in Texas, and he's Beto is from Texas, so he's very popular in that state, or somewhat popular in that state. So it's not too much of a surprise, but I think his biggest moments were when he was talking about taking away, people's AR-15s and their assault rifles or whatever, and got a lot of cheers, regardless of what you may believe about it. Apparently, there's a lot of people who support that idea of like, hey, we need to get rid of these guns, out of people's hands. They belong in the battlefield, not in public, So, yeah, he really stood out as far as that goes. The main thing is like, basically getting the camera, and these debates, like getting the camera on your face, so people watching, they at least see you. They hear your name, they see your face, and he got that. Biden obviously got that. He's the front runner. Of course, they're going to have the camera on him the whole time, but Beto got that too. He made sure, that they're panning the cameras over to him, and you got to, make a splash, and he did make a splash. So yeah, Beto definitely the next winner, I would say. And before I end on him, I've said in other videos, I don't believe Beto is going to win the presidential race overall. However, if after this, say he doesn't make it and he decides to run for anything, basically anything in Texas, from like mayor to governor to whatever, I think he could win. Definitely, I would say that he's gaining so much popularity by running for president that if he runs for anything in Texas, Beto, he's going to win. So he's getting his name out there. Like I say, he's getting his face on the TV. He's doing well, at least in Texas. Okay. The next winner of last night's debate, Tulsi Gabbard. And, okay, obviously she wasn't at the debate. How is she a winner? And it's almost because she wasn't there. So she almost won by not losing, kind of by default. And you're like, okay, well, but what about the other people who weren't there? Tim Ryan, or what's his name, Tom Steyer, whatever his name is. Can't you say that they won too, even though they weren't there? There's one difference though. Tulsi was talked about. You know, you look on YouTube comments, or maybe if you even talk to people, they say, hey, where was Tulsi? I wish Tulsi was there. Even I go to, you know, the Fox News channel on YouTube, and, you know, any video of YouTube, and you're praising her. Okay. But now I challenge you to try to find one person anywhere on YouTube, on any of the videos from the debates last night, or anybody saying, oh man, I really wish Tim Ryan was at the debates last night, or that Tom Sawyer guy, or whatever his name was. Nobody. That's the difference between Tulsi and them. People were talking about Tulsi in a good way. How, man, I wish she was there. You know, still praising her. She would be great and all this kind of stuff. But not one person I seen in any video asking, oh, hey, boy, I sure missed it. Tim Ryan wasn't there. So yeah, again, by default, kind of, if Tulsi would have went, maybe she would have messed up. Maybe not. Maybe she didn't win well. Maybe she would have done well. Who knows? But because she wasn't there, she didn't lose, so she kind of won. So I put her on the list. Next winner, Amy Klobuchar. This is another one who was kind of a winner by default. I would say she didn't lose, and so she kind of won in that respect. She stayed kind of flat, I guess you could say. The best moment of the night for her that I remember was when she was talking about Bernie Sanders, how Bernie Sanders quotes, I wrote the damn bill. And she was like, well, I read the bill. And on so-and-so page, it says this and that. So she kind of, had a little blip and, made herself known a little bit. Like I said, remember, the point is get that camera on your face. Let people see your face so they at least, have some kind of face recognition. Maybe get your name thrown out there, whatever. And so she did that. And she didn't make any major gaffes or any gaffes that I could think of. She's very average. I don't think that she's going to even go very far. Like, say, someone like Beto O'Rourke. Beto will probably go pretty far in this election. Her, probably not. But last night, she did good. Like I said, even. That was the end of the winners. Now on to the losers. And I know some of you are thinking, oh, you didn't say so-and-so, and you're going to put so-and-so that I like in the losers category. Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, they're a loser. First one, major, absolute loser, the biggest loser of the night was Julian Castro. Oh my gosh, he slit his own throat last night. So he attempted to call out Joe Biden on something that Joe Biden forgot that he said. And maybe he's right or wrong. There's a little bit of debate on whether he was right. Julian Castro was like, oh, you just said this 2 minutes ago. Did you just forget? And that's where the problem arose. Let's say Joe Biden did forget what he said and, that he made a gaffe or whatever. But it's that Castro kept going on it. Instead of just saying it one time, it would be like, oh, Mr. Vice President, you just said that. Did you forget? And that's it. He kept going on it, almost like a child would, oh, did you forget? And it seemed rude. It seemed like almost bullying. And definitely it seemed not presidential. And you have to understand something, okay? A lot of different people vote. Young people, old people, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, everything, right? Okay, and big block voters and people who are watching the debates are elderly people. And elderly people, or, anybody, everybody forgets. But especially as you get older, your memory is not as sharp as before. And so I try to put myself in an elderly person's shoes watching the debate. And they're thinking, well, hey, I forget stuff. Biden forgets stuff. It makes them kind of human. But when Castro was saying that stuff, it was like he was picking on him. It's like, okay, yeah, I forget stuff too, but I don't want people to like totally point it out like that. Oh, you're forgetting, and making you seem like just stupid. He is like Castro was trying to make Biden seem stupid. Was that Castro's intent? Maybe not, but that's how people perceived it. And a lot of people were saying that was a really low blow. I agree. Honestly, it's almost campaign ending. I don't know if Castro's going to be able to recover from that. It's just, yeah, it was a low blow. It's, like I said, not cool. Not presidential, not cool. Biggest loser of the night, definitely. Castro is probably out of the race. And next loser, Andrew Yang. Andrew Yang. One of his biggest things is he has that, the UBI plan, his, what is he called, freedom dividend, but he goes too much on it. It's like that's all he talks about for the most part, But that aside, his other thing is he keeps invoking the fact that he's Asian. A lot of people don't like that. I think they call it identity politics, or I guess race politics, if you want to call it. And what did he say? He said something about, oh, because I'm Asian, I know a lot of doctors. It's like, are you bragging? Are you, just highlighting the stereotype? What are you doing? But it's just a point of, don't throw your race out there like that. A lot of people don't like that. And I just think that made him a loser. You got to stop bringing up your race, when he says that, oh, the opposite of Donald Trump is the Asian guy who likes math. Stop bringing up your race. You have good ideas. The UBI is not a terrible idea. He has I don't want to say good futuristic thought. He thinks well about the future and how, the coming of the automation revolution and robots and all that stuff. You have good points. Don't ruin your good points by diminishing, by talking about your race or by other silly things. So yeah, I think he might stay in the race for a while, at least a few more debates, if not to the first voting sessions or whatever. But tonight or last night he was a loser. Definitely was a loser last night. The next person on the loser list was Cory Booker. Cory Booker, he also has the problem of saying the same thing. He always talks about, well, in my neighborhood, and he did it again last night. And the kind of the irony is, he's somewhat right. Okay, so I think he tried to make the point last night was like, okay, the majority of shootings in the United States aren't these mass shootings. It's the small shootings, just people killing each other within gangs or in just random homicides or whatever. And that's what happens in regular neighborhoods, like his neighborhood. Okay, and so I understand the point he's making. But people are tired of hearing it, just talking about, oh, in my neighborhood. It's like, you're not running for city mayor or something. You're running for president of the United States, So again, I understand his point, but he's got to get at it. Like I said, if you just have that one talking point, or, like I said, Andrew, oh, UBI, or, my neighborhood, you keep saying the same thing over and over, it's just going to fall on the deaf ears. So yeah, another loser for the night. Next, Kamala Harris. She was just almost weird. I don't know. I even noticed some commenters saying was just like, was she drunk? Because at one point she was like, what did she say? I can't remember. Something about dang it, not seeing my memory's slipping. But don't make fun of me, guys. I'm getting old too. But anyhow, she just seemed kind of weird. Some of the stuff she was saying. But the main thing is she didn't really stick out. She seemed to try to make amends with Joe Biden, which is good. Maybe she's thinking ahead. Hey, this guy, he might become president. Maybe he could choose me as VP, because he's already said that he would like to choose a woman as VP. There's only, 5 women left. She's pretty popular. So I think that's kind of what she's going for. Someone in her strategy team was like, hey, this guy might win. He wants a woman for VP. You're one of the few women left and who's actually, polling at least decently. So maybe, stay off bashing Biden too much. So yeah. So that was probably one of the good things that she did, if he does happen to become the nominee, which I don't believe. She's trying to prepare herself to be the VP pick, But still, overall, she didn't really make herself known. Maybe got the camera on a couple of times, okay, whatever, but nothing major. I don't think she's going to get any bump in the polls or anything like that. Anyhow, Pete Buttigieg. Again, one who kind of stayed flat, but he kind of made himself look foolish, at least at one point. When Castro was starting to bully Joe Biden, if I may call it bullying, there was kind of a lot of rumbling, and part of that rumbling was him saying, oh, that's one reason people don't like the debates or politics, because all this basically bickering back and forth, and, that we shouldn't do that. But he seemed like, it made him look weak, kind of. I hate to say it, but okay, people judge by candidates by a lot of things, not just by their politics, okay? This is just fact. You could thumb down my video, you can hate me all you want, but it's fact. People judge by race, by gender, by sexual orientation, everything, okay? And being gay, everybody knows he's gay, he's very open about it. People already, especially guys, they already consider gay guys to be effeminate, more like women. And then when you're kind of almost like cowering, like, oh no, we shouldn't fight, guys, it's making you seem weak, especially to other guys. I hate to say it, but that's how people perceive you. And so when he did that, and then Castro's one good moment of the night, he kind of jumped on Buttigieg, and he was like, hey, man, this is the big leagues, get with the program. And that kind of just shut him down. Buttigieg didn't have anything to say about that. So yeah, if he would have stayed out of that, I would have probably said maybe he's a winner, because he stayed really flat, but that kind of made him look, like I said, just not. You need to be up there and be strong about your points. You should have just stayed out of it when Castro was saying that stuff to Biden. Should have just stayed out of it. But he tried to invoke his opinion and, oh, come on, guys, it's not fire. Everybody, let's be happy. And Castro just trashed him. And Castro was like, if I'm going down, bud, you're going down too. So anyhow, so yeah, Buttigieg, another loser of the night. The next one, Sanders. I like Sanders, I really do. But he's old. Okay, like I said, let's be real here. He's old, and it was showing last night. He was like all slouched over, and I think he had a cold, and so his voice was raspy. That didn't help any. But it looked like sometimes it looks like his age is really just getting the best of him, and like I said, people judging that. You could hate me, you could thumb down the video all you want, whatever. But the fact is, people look at that stuff, people vote on that stuff, and he just didn't look. I mean, he's vibrant sometimes, he really is, but last night he wasn't. But the bigger reason he's a loser from last night, Sanders, is because, like I said, Biden called him out. You got this $30 trillion plan, $30 trillion freaking dollars. That's a lot of money. And like I said, Biden's like, how are you going to pay for it? And he just didn't come up with any concrete way. I want to hear, how specifically, how are you going to pay for this? And he just didn't. He just, like I said, ramble your political mumbo jumbo, and he just didn't come up with any, like I said, solid facts or whatever, how are you going to pay for it? Then the last one, last loser of the night is Elizabeth Warren. I almost wanted to put her in the winners category. I would say she's almost in the middle because she kind of didn't lose, kind of didn't win. The only reason I would say she's more on the losing side is because, again, Biden did hit her too on her health care plan. And again, she came up with her political mumbo jumbo. I don't even remember half of what she said, but it's just, like I said, how people perceive it is like, oh, blah, 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 And people just want to hear clear points, like boom, boom, boom. This is how we're going to pay for it. That's why Joe Biden goes, 1, I'm going to do this. 2, I'm going to do that. People like that. Just straightforward, bam, bam, bam. This is how I'm going to get it done. Not this whole roundabout political mumbo jumbo. So yeah, like I said, she's close to the winner bracket, but unfortunately I had to put her in the loser bracket. And in general, so those are the winners and losers. One more thing I want to say is, I don't know how everybody else perceived it, but I think that throwing around all those numbers that they do, they sit there talking about, 700 billion and 30 trillion and 50 trillion. I mean, they start to throw out a lot of numbers. And I mean, I like math and statistics as much as the next person, but I think it gets too confusing. Like I said, you got to be more straightforward. And I don't know. I don't know how to really fix that because, they're trying to just, show their stats and the numbers that kind of prove their points or whatever. But I think this is advice to all the candidates, if for some reason they're watching this video, is just to pull back on all the number throwing out. It's just too much sometimes. And that's about it. Anyhow, those are the winners and losers. That's my opinion. See you later.